Alright, I want to talk about something that's been bothering me for a while now, and it's the idea that our footage can be made cinematic by following 5 simple steps, or the notion that like we as creatives must use our particular gadget or a particular LUT or whatever to achieve a cinematic look. I feel like YouTube has become so inundated with videos that promise to achieve a certain particular style or cinematic look to the point where it almost feels trendy. And I feel like the word cinematic has become such a buzzword over the past few years that people just automatically cling on to that word and they want their footage to look cinematic. I want it to look cinematic. I want it to look cool.
Cinematic.
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 How to make your footage look more Hollywood and cinematic.
They're obsessing over which widgets they're using and whatever looks cool rather than actually focusing on a good story. And I feel like part of this stems from creators that have massive followings that propagate bad habits and follow the latest trends and I almost think of it as infotainment. These trends include obsessing over gimbals, widescreen mats or cinebars as people like to call them, the faded film look, using LUTs as grades, cliche transitions, and slow motion. A comment I found on Reddit kind of really said it best. If you learn stuff from YouTube, that's the only level of success you'll achieve, which is fine, but take what all these people say with a grain of salt, me included. Most of them are only partially right about a lot of the stuff they talk about or are incredibly remedial in skills. And I kind of have to agree with them. A lot of the content creators on YouTube, a majority of them have learned the stuff that they have learned through YouTube, and that's totally fine. YouTube has become a great gateway in this overabundance of just knowledge, but it's important to make the distinction between like knowledge and like wisdom, because some information isn't all that great. Now, I do believe there is good information on YouTube. It's just becoming like increasingly difficult sifting through the sea of stuff that is YouTube. Don't become so locked in on what people say and treat it as gospel, because it's important to take what people have to say, but then discern yourself from other filmmakers so then you can really start voicing your ideas. So then what does make something cinematic? To me, it goes a lot further than that. To me, a cinematic image comes from the scripts, pre-production, color, lighting, wardrobe, frame depth, production design, composition, lens choice. All these elements help complement your video's story. You don't need a fancy gimbal, you don't need a fancy slider or a full-frame camera. What you need is an effective story. And you have to remember that the tools that we use to tell our stories are exactly that. They're tools. You wouldn't go up to Gordon Ramsay and ask him what kind of pan he cooks with.
Because 99% of service is common sense!
Being cinematic is a culmination of artistic choices, not because something looks cool. You really have to ask yourself, are you making these creative decisions? And how are they furthering your story? And if those elements are being covered, then full speed ahead. There's no one particular look that produces a cinematic image. Different stories call for different looks, and it's up to you to define them.